crowd. You can legally and lawfully detain somebody on suspicion of failing to obey an order or any number of things that happen in these crowd control situations, and that removes that person from the demonstration for the next few hours at least. And sometimes that's kind of the unstated goal, to get the people who, at least the officers on the ground, may believe are instigating or causing trouble out of the crowd and away from everything that's going on, and then it makes it easier for the rest of the crowd to be managed if the folks that the law enforcement thinks are the ones that are causing the greatest amount of trouble are moved out. That doesn't always work according to plan. I mean, we've seen plenty of demonstrations where the wrong people are yanked out of the crowd by officers in riot gear, zip-tied and hauled away, whether it's a reporter or people who are there demonstrating peacefully. To get back to your question from a couple of minutes ago, it's very difficult to know in the heat of the moment when there's these friction points where there's lines of demonstrators and police trying to push people in different directions. If some officer gets hit or a rock lands, it's really difficult for anyone to know exactly where it came from. So these situations are fraught with danger, and it's not an easy thing to manage. And the larger the crowd gets, obviously, the more complicated it gets. By the way, we keep seeing this smoke rising from this this point between the CHP officers and the crowd. I'm not familiar with the CHP just letting loose canisters of some kind of material. I have no idea what's going on there, but it does not seem like it's something that law enforcement's doing, but difficult to tell. Certainly something we'll try to find out more about.
Yes, and I'm just wondering about the handoff now that the CHP has cleared the freeway. Obviously, they still have a big presence out there. Do they hand things back over to the LAPD? How do they work in coordination?
Well, certainly the local law enforcement agencies are all in contact with one another. They typically have a command post where representatives from each of the agencies are there, and they can do exactly what you just described, hand off from one to another. Once the freeway's been cleared, I'm not sure we're going to see the freeway reopen anytime soon. There's probably going to be lots of CHP officers along the 101 here to prevent anybody that was just removed from the freeway from coming back. As far as the people in custody, the CHP doesn't have its own jail facilities. They rely on local police agencies to book people who have been detained. In this case, that could be the LAPD, could be the LA County Sheriff's Department, but given all of the congestion in downtown LA right now, they may take them somewhere else. They could take them to a police station in another part of town in order to finish a booking process, which could result in somebody being released or somebody being held for a little bit while longer. As for what happens when the CHP gets to the top of the off-ramp or the on-ramp here, yeah, there's a good chance they'll hand this off to the LAPD, but I believe Lolita Lopez is right there near Los Angeles and Aliso Streets, or was. It looked like there were not efforts going on to clear people out of the streets the way that we're seeing it happening on the freeway surfaces right now. So the CHP may get to the top of that off-ramp and be done.
Eric, as we watch these shots here, you know, this is all in response to ongoing federal immigration enforcement. You know, I don't want our viewers to lose sight of why these protests have been happening. And that's not that's not to justify some of the violence that we're seeing against officers. But do you think that this will have any impact on the federal government's response here in Los Angeles County, given that at every turn they're going to seemingly see protests like this every single day? We know that President Trump is adamant these will continue. We've heard the border czar, Tom Homan, on NBC News saying these will continue. But this is going to get increasingly difficult day in, day out as these enforcement operations continue.
Yeah, as we were talking about earlier, I mean, this puts local law enforcement in a really difficult position because, as we've been covering and have described, local police agencies have made it policy in the state of California to steer clear of any kind of immigration enforcement. The message is that's the federal government's job, that's not our job. And the rationale behind that has always been local police need to have the trust of the community in order to do their jobs. They need people to call 911. They need people to be witnesses, and if the general community is in fear of being handed off to federal immigration authorities, the rationale goes, those folks won't cooperate, won't call the police, and that's a much worse situation. So here we have a predicament where the people in the crowd here, clearly
Check,
their
check, check.
anger and frustration is being directed at the decisions of the federal government, and yet the local police are the ones that are trying to deal with the crowd here, trying to deal with the freeway, and in many people's minds, it might be
Posse
difficult to separate
comitatus.
those two issues.
All right.
You have the rage at the immigration and the federal decisions, and then you have local police appearing to do work, law enforcement work, putting hands on people, shoving people around, sometimes taking people to jail, and it has the appearance of being at the behest of what the federal agents are doing. And I'm sort of surprised we haven't heard more directly from some of our city officials and county officials
Checking something
about
real quick.
what message they want the public to hear about this. And it's an intractable situation. The CHP can't let people just sit on the freeway all day. The LAPD cannot sit idly by while businesses and buildings are vandalized and there's stuff going on in the street that's unruly and people could get hurt and all of that. There's some level of responsibility to maintain order. And again, the flip side of this is it carries the appearance in this moment, unlike many others before, in this moment, it carries the appearance that local police are somehow involved in the federal immigration mission because, after all, this demonstration wouldn't be here if it weren't for the decisions that are being made about how to use federal law enforcement.
There's a live. I had to check it on my phone to see if it was going, and it's actually going, which is good.
Administration has deemed it suitable. So this is a real problem for the local cops.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been on the border. I've just been planning to get back. I had to get my real ID and renew my license, and I didn't know if I was going to need like glasses. So I went and did an eye test. They're like, you need glasses, so I got glasses, and then I took them to do my test at the DMV to renew my license, and then I passed the test, so I don't need to wear the glasses. So I'm done with that. I had just wanted to get my license renewed before I left to go back to the border. And I know, if you know Ben Berquam from Real America's Voice News, I've worked with him on several missions and projects. He's been going out with Border Patrol agents on like night ops, trying to get gotaways, because there's much less are coming through than when I was been out covering for the last 4 years. But I'd like to go do some of those with night vision and stuff like that. And then border wall construction has begun, but it's like not fully ramped up. It's waiting for the Congress to get through the appropriations. That has to do with this big bill that they're trying to pass. That's where the funding is, like $46.5 billion in funding for border wall and other border defense stuff. So once that's going underway, I want to be out there for that. And then, of course, Brian Kolfage. I've still been working on helping his pardon go through and helping get him released from prison, because I worked with him. I worked with him forever. He was my employer since 2015, and then I helped build the first privately funded border wall with him, and so Democrats put him in prison, and because they said he got paid and he shouldn't have been paid. It was a lame bull crap. But so we're working on getting him a pardon, and once he's out, I'm sure I'll be working with him again. Steve, you live a few blocks from the Rio Grande. Nice and quiet, exactly. Steve, yeah, I was in Jacumba, California, where I camped for like over 4 months on the border. And I got back home around December last year, and right after Trump won, it just everything was quiet. It was insane. It was like all we needed to do was change presidents, and we did.
Karen Bass and LAPD Chief Jim McDonnell would be addressing this very issue to tried to convince people.
I got a new backdrop for
Dividing line between what the federal government's doing
for doing videos,
the city of LA feels
which is
like
behind
it
me,
has
the
to do in order to maintain some kind of order
American
and public
flag
safety
thing.
in Southern California.
to arrange it better.
Thread that needle remains to be seen, but I expect we're going to hear from them soon.
But yeah, Los Angeles. If it's still going on when I head down to the border, I got a few things to do before then. Like I got to put my Jeep in the shop again. It's still having problems from the border. It's crazy. So if LA is still popping off, I'll try and find. It's so difficult when you go into a big city, when you're traveling and like I do and camp along the way, and to find safe areas that are safe and where there's nobody's going to break into your vehicle. I do carry my Glock with me wherever I go. So
Roland, if you're with us, we're seeing finally these CHP officers successfully move that
prior, I had to do it. I haven't been into the DMV probably for 10 or 15 years. I forget when the last time I was in there for because I did it all online. I was just like renew online because I don't have any points on my license. So it's just, I think it's been like 10 years probably. I had a 10-year-old photo on my driver's license. Whoa, what's going on? Check this out. There's people trying to attack. Whoa, look. There's some people were attacking the officers there. Oh, yeah. There's certain sections of border wall that have been being built prior, and it hasn't ramped up fully yet because they're waiting for all the money, like billions and billions and billions, in the bill that's supposed to be passing. How? Oh. Never mind. So there's arrests going on. CHP very methodically tries to push this crowd back up the on-ramp, guys.
Yeah, it's exactly what we're seeing too. A lot of smoke. We see the CHP there, the crowd moving up slowly. And on the overpasses, we're seeing far fewer people. So it looks like a lot of people there who were there earlier, some of them have moved. And again, just people wandering around, some of them leaving the area. It'll be interesting to see what happens next as far as having the presence of the CHP on the freeway. It is now clear they just can't reopen it just yet.
Absolutely. And Roland, have you seen the...
Sorry guys, I'm like multitasking and I got my phone out trying to share this out so we can get some more people on.
Overall, we see a lot of people along the sides of the freeway. Has that dissipated at all, or is it still just...
So if you have any questions, I have so many videos still from the border to edit and stuff. And to put out probably some documentary movies and I have so many videos I haven't put out yet. Like that one guy who stopped the one where he threw a rock at the illegal aliens jumping over the border wall with the ladder. That one that went super viral. So I have more videos of him, but at night he was doing the same thing, and it turned out it was either cartel or Mexican military. I forget what it was, but he was yelling at him. He thought they were trying to get people over. It's crazy. Then I have more videos from when I was out putting up concertina wire up on the border wall where the cartels had it cut and they're putting people over, and so I dropped down concertina wire and it all stopped. Everything stopped. Everyone stopped coming over in that area for I think it was 4 months. They were coming over 40, 50 a day.
Roland Spruill up in Roland, thank you. If you are just joining us, we are following breaking news right now at 5 o'clock. Flashbangs, tear gas, rubber bullets.
Look at these guys, man.
Clashing with law enforcement as they march through downtown Los Angeles.
What? How much time do you get if you? Hey Joyce, how are you doing?
Team coverage as tensions mount over federal immigration.
It is. It's like I'm a California native, and I've been thinking about looking at land on the border. We'll see how it goes, but California is okay. Apparently, we're going to some live. Who? Gavin Newsom? Oh my gosh! Is my volume not good? Oh, this is Los Angeles Mayor Bass.
You cause fear and you cause panic. And deploying federalized troops is a dangerous escalation.
Check 1 2.
But we need to be
Can you hear me
clear
now?
about this. This is about another agenda. It's not about public
Can you hear
safety.
me now?
There's clearly no plan and there is clearly no policy. I want the people of Los Angeles to know that we stand with all Angelenos, no matter where you were born. The First Amendment right
an
gives you the
insurrection.
ability, again,
Absolutely.
to protest peacefully. But it does not give you the right to be violent, to create chaos, or to vandalize property. And that will not be tolerated. So I call on all Angelenos to continue expressing your right, your anger, your outrage, but to do it peacefully. And I just have to say that all of you were there Friday. Everybody knows what happened Friday. A workplace, several workplaces were targeted and raids took place. Now, in the beginning, the administration
How's my
said
volume
they were just
now?
looking for
Can you hear me?
dangerous felons, violent people. It's hard to say that that's what they found at a workplace or in a Home Depot parking lot. When this happens, it terrifies people. It sends a sense of fear and chaos in our city. And you well remember a few years ago in the last administration that kids were afraid to go to school, parents were afraid to go to work. This impacts all of our city. You can't terrify the workforce, and then expect for people to get the jobs done. So if you think about a father that went into a factory, and now
this
his
lady
family doesn't
just
know where he is, the detainees have
let
not
Los
been
Angeles
allowed
burn.
to speak to legal
She's
counsel. That is a marked
DEI.
departure from what has happened in the past. When you think of a mother that might be working in a household, taking care of children on another side of town, that impacts that family as well as her family. And so this is something that I
Bass
think
is
should
actually
not be
stepping
happening
down.
in our city. And I join
That's
with the governor
good.
in appealing to the administration to rescind the order to federalize the National Guard
I'm looking
and
it up.
allow the National Guard to come back under the control of the governor. So with that, we can open it up for questions. Yes.
We're going to start with Lolita and then we'll go to Chase.
Mayor, these protests that were demonstrations, I should say, did start out.
So I don't think she's.
Right.
I haven't seen it in the news prior that she's
Where is the LAPD and
hiring, but maybe.
to be able to deal with that and maybe stop them before they get on the 101 freeway?
Sure. Well, I think that basically they were overrun. But what is happening now is that the freeway is cleared. The California Highway
For real.
Patrol,
I
as
mean,
you know,
for
is in
a
charge
city
of
that's
the
been
freeways.
burned
So
down
we
and
have
then
moved
now
all the
riots.
protesters back. They still might be there, but they are beginning to be dispersed. But LAPD is on the
She's the
perimeter,
head
so LAPD is
insurrectionist.
actively involved. You know that there were hundreds of protesters on the freeway and thousands of protesters off the freeway. So there is a joint collaboration going with the CHP, the LAPD, and then frankly the National Guard. But you also know that the National Guard is deployed to protect federal property. So there is a National Guard troops in Westwood at the federal building and also here downtown.
Next question, then Chase.
Jason?
Mayor Ross, have you reached out directly to the federal government, or is this you doing so right now with the media here? Have you tried to reach out?
No, my disappointment is I've been talking to the federal government for days. I was hoping to prevent this situation from happening. I was trying to encourage the administration that if they deployed the National Guard in Los Angeles, it would create a sense of chaos. It's the last thing our city needs. Our city is still trying to recover from the wildfires. And you just think about how so many people were impacted by that. And that's an example of where the administration was helpful. And to go from that situation to where we are now is just really tragic. And I think it's so unfortunate. It's the last thing Los Angeles needs.
When you say you've reached out to the federal government, have you reached to President Trump?
No, I did not reach out to President Trump directly. I spoke to his chief of staff. I talked to Tom Holman. I talked to the U.S. Attorney. So I've talked to several members of the administration.
Next question, Matthew.
Yeah, I know you've been watching these protests. First off, what do you see when you're watching this? And I know that you mentioned being worried about the safety of the protesters, but are you also worried about members of law enforcement?
I mean,
Well, I worried
couldn't
about
imagine
everybody. I'm
living there
worried about members of law
under that
enforcement.
leadership.
I'm worried about the safety of the people who are peacefully protesting. I'm worried about the businesses that might get vandalized. I'm worried about the vandalism that took place around the federal building. All of that. We do not need to see our city torn apart. And the idea that the federal government that
Chris,
should be
what's up? How are you?
is a contributing
Thanks for
factor,
coming in.
I think is very tragic. When I see the protesters, I know that so many people are affected by this. Their families are affected by this.
Oh my
People are
gosh,
terrified.
turn this off. Turn her off.
Impacts the overall message of the protest.
Well, I mean, I first of all, I think protests need to be peaceful, period. And any time it deteriorates
Yeah,
into
they're not
violence,
peaceful.
that is a problem.
Literally,
and
an
it
officer was
absolutely
just declared
messes
down
with the
like an
overall
hour
message.
ago.
Yeah, hi Mayor. George with Reuters. My question is, can you share a little bit about the conversations you've had with the governor and how long you expect for the National Guard to actually be in?
You know what? Thanks for asking me that, because we're hearing.
Chris,
all
yes,
all
I'm doing
sorts
awesome.
of
Thank you.
information. We're hearing that
Tristan.
raids could continue. We're hearing that the National Guard is going to be here, so it's uncertain. But that's
They should
exactly
be
the
arrested
problem.
for illegally
Because we
breaking the
don't
law,
need in
aiding
the
and
city
abetting
to
of
go to
criminal
sleep
felons.
tonight
Absolutely.
And wake up in the morning and find out about people running through Home Depot parking lots being chased by ICE officers, or people going to work, or children at school.
Prior,
So we
yeah.
don't need any of
The
that in
Marine
our
base,
city right now. Our
absolutely.
city's trying to heal. Our
Imagine
city is
it's
trying
been
to
busy.
rebuild. Our city does not need to be torn apart with a provocative
Joyce,
measure
oh my
from
gosh,
the
yeah, I
federal
mean,
government.
she just handled the fires, LA fires, so horribly. She shouldn't even be in office right now.
If people get violent,
Prior,
or
okay,
break
I'll
the law,
try. I've got
they
the
will
little,
be
this
subject
little
to arrest,
control
and they'll
panel
be
in
held
front of
accountable.
me.
It's as simple as that. So peaceful protest is what is needed. Peaceful protest is a part of our American tradition.
Mayor, last night the U.S. Attorney seemed resolute that these raids would continue regardless of what's happened over the last 2 or 3 days. In your conversations with him,
How's
have you
this?
kind of attempted compromise or somehow lowering the temperature, at least will things cool off locally if they want to continue, or are they just doing it regardless of how everyone else feels?
Is that better?
Well, I mean, I
Prior,
think what we see
the
now is
audio.
they're doing it regardless of how anyone
I
else feels.
put
Our
it all the
conversation
same.
with the U.S.
Oh,
Attorney,
hold
though, was not
on one
focused on
sec.
that.
Frank?
Yeah, I have a question.
Oh, hi, Frank.
Okay.
It
Now,
appears
everything
that
is
the
at the
LAPD is cooperating with
prior, all
ICE
the
in this
volumes.
operation outside the Metropolitan Detention Center. They moved in, there was a peaceful protest. The LAPD moved the people back using flashbang and less lethal munitions. Comment on that, because
Sure.
the LAPD is not supposed to be cooperating with ICE.
Sure. Well, first of all, I'm not sure that LAPD was involved with the flashbangs. But anyway, let me just say that what happened there is that when one branch of law enforcement says they need help, another branch of law enforcement is going to respond and is obligated to respond. And so the minute that protest left the federal building, then that's when LAPD were involved. So the cooperation that you're referring to, I believe, is the cooperation around coordinating with ICE in terms of raiding workplaces or arresting people who are undocumented.
Right here in the gray.
Dan,
Hi, what's your exact
I
understanding of the
just
timeline
actually
for how long the
turned it
National
up.
Guard's going to be
Everything
here?
should be-
How long the raids are going to
Check,
continue?
check.
Are they going to be daily
How's this?
raids? For
I have no exact timeline. I cannot tell you that. That's part of the problem, right? We do not know. I have heard a variety of days and weeks. I certainly hope that this is over. The last thing this city needs is civil unrest, and the last thing this city needs is civil unrest that's provoked.
quick follow-up. So I've seen LAPD fire point blank foam bullets, rubber bullets into the ground, but in some cases directly at protesters. Can you speak about what kind of orders you're under in terms of handling these protesters?
I can't in terms of the specific orders that are being given by the chief or the other commanding officers.
So Mayor, will you be speaking then to Chief McDonald?
I'm going to speak to him in the next few minutes.
Okay, great.
Yes,
So
I'm
what is
leaving
in
from
the
here
plan?
to meet with him.
Great. What is in the plan for tomorrow? Because let's say presumably this does not end.
Right. Well, you know, I think one thing is that because our city has always had a very robust immigrant rights movement and infrastructure and institutions that have been around for several decades, There is a history of having peaceful protests here. Now, you know, like any crowd, if we're talking about after an athletic event, everybody celebrates. There's always a handful of people that tend to be at the end and tend to hang around and might get into mischief and violence. But that's not the people who are putting on the protests. I tell you that to say that when those protests have been organized, they've been organized in a proper way. The problem is what happens at the end, and that's one thing that is difficult with crowd control, whether it is a political protest or whether it is a football game.
I think I was like checking my phone.
Yes, I did talk to Tom Holmes.
What did he tell you?
Well, he just listened. I mean, the main thing he said was he appreciated that there was a call for no violence. I'm not exactly sure what was expected, but you know, I was encouraging him not to deploy the National Guard. I knew that the order had been given. The president had signed the order to the governor that he was federalizing the National Guard, that 2,000 troops were going to be deployed, but that didn't mean that they would actually be deployed onto our streets. So my conversation with him, was trying to encourage to prevent the deployment. Obviously, that did not work.
And to be clear, you had a meeting with the police chief and anybody else, or just the police chief?
The police chief, the sheriff, and the governor.
The mayor's about peaceful protests, we're hearing the noises outside as this traffic getting closer and presumably more violent as they're coming up through the streets here. I know it's nice to talk about peaceful protests.
That's not peaceful, what was happening. It's not peaceful for people to be on the highways. It's not peaceful for people to throw rocks or bottles. That's not peaceful.
So then how do we reconcile the difference? Obviously, there's frustration with the Trump administration and the feds, but as LAPD and the Sheriff's Department try to distance themselves from the actions of these immigration actions and work being done, they're against authority in a lot of ways. They're standing inside city hall is your office. It's not necessarily against you. How do you distance yourself, but also kind of try to keep it peaceful at a time where it's anti-authority?
Well, and let me just tell you that I don't think there's any equivocating on nonviolence. And if you are going to entertain violence, if you are going to try to take over a freeway, then you are going to suffer the consequences of doing that. I don't think that LAPD, the sheriff, and certainly not myself, are not shying away from statements like that.
Any details about what the National Guard mission is going to be?
I'm sorry?
Any details about what the National Guard mission is going to be within LA, where they're going to be deployed?
Well, what I know right now is that the mission of the National Guard is to protect federal property and the federal building, which is why you have only seen them there. You have not seen them out in the community or anything like that. And just in terms of, to close, to wrap up, I just have to say that, again, our city has been through a lot since the beginning of the year. And now thinking that there is a large percentage of our city that is terrified, that is not going to know if they go to sleep tonight and they go to work or they go to school, will that be the last day they do that? Will that be the last day they see their family? We can't have this in our city. Los Angeles is a city of immigrants where 50% of the population is Latino. A percentage of the populations are from Asian countries and from all over the world. And we embrace all Angelinos. It doesn't matter where you came from or when you got here.
I need to hear what you guys are hearing.
But the most important thing right now is that our city be peaceful. And so protests and expressing your, fears, your beliefs is appropriate to do, but it is just not appropriate for there to be violence. And I don't want people to fall into the chaos that I believe is being created by the administration completely unnecessarily. Thank you very much.
Okay, cool. I figured it out. Thanks.
LA Mayor Karen Bass wrapping up a news conference about the ongoing federal immigration enforcement as well as the subsequent protests, calling on the president to rescind the order that federalized the California National Guard, saying that it was not about public safety, that there was never a plan or policy put in place by the Trump administration when that memo was signed by the president yesterday, saying it's the last thing Los Angeles needs right now, but also urging protesters, Kathy, to protest peacefully.
Check. Here we go. How's that? Whoa, I'm peeking out. Check. How's that better?
And the mayor did say,
how's that?
Yes, earlier the rallies were mostly peaceful, but again, not when things are being thrown at officers who are there to protect public safety. You're looking at video from earlier when cars were still on the 101.
This is not even. Oh, okay. This is a closer up shot.
In fact, all of the protesters who were there on the freeway have now been moved off, but I believe CHP still has a presence there at the scene.
They still have a presence.
Is this
there.
better,
We
guys?
saw at least,
The audio?
at least a half a dozen
Okay,
people being
great.
taken into
I
custody.
figured it out.
We want to get to our
I've
Eric
got
Leonard, our
equipment
investigative
on the
reporter
side
who's
of me
following
that
this along with us. And,
hooks up to my
Eric, we understand
laptop,
you
and
were
then I've
listening
got
to the
a
mayor
little
along with us.
software
Your
thingy
thoughts
that
on what she had to say
I haven't
and
used
hearing
this
from your
software
law
for
enforcement sources
so
as
long.
well.
It's crazy.
Yeah, hi. So the mayor focused in on that, the thing we've been talking about
Let
for the
me
last couple
see
of
if I
hours, which is
can-
this conundrum of perception, where the local law enforcement, the LAPD, the city of Los Angeles, feels obligated to do something to restore order in some of the places where these demonstrations.
I'm gonna move to a different
veered
screen,
into
my
vandalism
X
and other
account
kinds
real
of
quick,
disruptions, and at the same
and
time
show
still trying to
you
convince the public that the actions that the
from
local
earlier.
law enforcement are taking have nothing to do with the
So this is
federal
the
law
officer was down right here.
enforcement mission of
See if I can move to
enforcing
this,
immigration
see if it's
laws,
coming up on-
and how that seems like a pretty murky situation to many people who are watching this through
sorry,
our
guys.
coverage here. I mean, you see the demonstration outside the federal complex because people are upset with the actions.
So
of
this
the
is
federal
when
government, the
people were being
decisions to increase the
law
aggressiveness
enforcement
of
was being
enforcement of
attacked. You can see
immigration
their
laws,
their
and then
vehicles
it
right here.
looks like the
See them
LAPD
throwing
is right
stuff.
there to back them up.
This was
The mayor
earlier. It was
asked
probably an hour
specifically
ago.
about that. I think she took the question in the direction of why was it that LAPD officers showed up several days ago. This was last Friday when federal agents were in part of the garment district.
This was
and
Freeway
were
101 in
conducting,
Los Angeles.
an
They took
investigation or
over.
serving search warrants, and then a crowd formed, and then a help call went out, and LAPD officers rushed in, and it made it look like they were all working in concert with one another. The mayor simply said a few minutes ago, yeah, the LAPD was not there to take part in the immigration enforcement of whatever was going on there, which, by the way, we're still not entirely clear on what
Now
the
let
mission
me
of the law enforcement
show
agents
you
were. But nonetheless, it has that appearance, and I'm not sure that someone from the local government has been able to
And then, of course,
give the public a clear
you've seen
understanding
this.
of where that dividing line is.
This is
and how to separate
this is
the
why
actions
they're
from
why what's
law
happening in
enforcement
Los
agencies from the
Angeles is
actions
happening
of the
because
local.
every
So you also
day
heard the mayor talking there
the
about
invasion
how
was
the
going
city
on the
was
border.
forced
Like
into a
this is where I was
situation
filming
where
in
they had
late
to act
2023,
circumstances
Lukeville,
where
Arizona.
people
Some
were
of
on
you
the
have seen
freeway
this. This is
disrupting
literally
traffic,
what ICE
and
is
then
going
some
after.
folks in
Like
the crowd
most
suspected
of these
causing additional
people
problems, whether that's
who
vandalism
crossed
or
illegally.
throwing
Look at
rocks
them.
or refusing orders to leave after a certain assembly or a demonstration.
There's almost
has been
about to be a fight
deemed
in this
unlawful.
one.
CHP we watched over the last hour moved pretty swiftly to clear
These
out
were all
the
coming
101
across
freeway,
in
but now
Lukeville,
they've pushed those
Arizona
demonstrators
for
to the top of
7
the off-ramp
months
and
till
back
it was
onto
like
Los
this.
Angeles
Every
Street in the
single
Civic
day and
Center.
night.
The question's going to become,
This
well,
was
how long
December
do they stay up there?
2023.
Is
I'd
the
been there
CHP
for
gonna try
7
to
weeks
expand
total,
that
so
perimeter
you're
and start pushing
seeing
demonstrators one way or another?
what led to
Problem
what's
with
going
all
on
of
in
this
Los
just creates
Angeles
more
is
and
the
more
Biden
friction
administration
points between
allowed
law
this to go on
enforcement,
every
and the
day
public,
for
who
4
again are there
years
not
in
for
like
their,
multiple
not for the
locations
purpose of
across the
demonstrating
border.
against the local
It was
police,
like
but
this,
rather,
like
the federal
from
agencies.
from
I'll
San
just
Diego
leave you with
to
one more
Eagle
note.
Pass,
We
Texas,
did
and
hear from
beyond.
the LAPD. We were
Brownsville,
expecting to
Texas,
see
I believe.
the chief of police, Jim McDonnell, with
so
the mayor this afternoon. Not sure you caught what the mayor was
that's-
saying. She was on her way from
that's
that
why-
news briefing to go meet with the police chief, the LA County sheriff, and I believe have a conference call with Gavin Newsom.
I have to keep
We're trying
a
to get
screen
ahold of
up,
the
so I'm
police
just
chief,
showing
and
you
we'll
like
speak with
what
him
led up to
sometime
it. A lot of you have
today,
seen this.
but, right now, that's what the
I
officials are
posted
working
some of these
on,
videos.
not only to figure out how to respond to all of this, but then also to address the actions of the federal government and
Move
as
it back
we've been
to
discussing,
this.
how to separate the needs of the local municipalities, local law enforcement
So-
from the things that the federal government has decided to do with an aggressiveness that we haven't seen in a generation.
Yeah, locally they would like for
That's
the federal
weird.
government to call off the National Guard, and we didn't really get a clear answer of how long the National Guard might be deployed here. We know they are guarding federal buildings.
Andrew,
and not really clear
yeah,
if it's
the
gonna be a
riot
month,
stuff
if it's
last
gonna
night
be a week,
was crazy.
or
That
how
was
long they
before
might be
the
there.
National Guard got there.
That's true. Although the
There's only
memorandum
300
that,
National
the
Guard in
president
LA
signed
right
to
now.
authorize the use or to
and
federalize the command of the National
so
Guard troops said that it was a
they're waiting for like
60-day
1,700
time
more,
period.
and apparently they might even
Typically
send in
those
the
are-
Marines if
I
that's
shouldn't say typically. This doesn't happen very
if
often.
necessary.
But in memos like this, where some directive is being given, the time window is more expansive than what we may actually see. I don't think there's any expectation from the folks we've been hearing from.
We'll see
that
how
there
it goes.
will
If
be
it-
a
if it's
presence
still
of
going on,
National
I might
Guard
go
troops
down
for
there.
the next 2 months in Southern California. This was
I have to find a few
specifically
places to
address
stay,
protecting federal buildings
camp,
and
or
potentially
maybe a few
protecting federal agents
safe
as they go
houses.
out and do whatever their law enforcement work is. But for the most part, as we've seen over the last 24 hours, their
Yeah,
presence
300 is
around
not
those
a
federal
lot of
facilities,
National Guard,
that
and
will
they
be
were
focus
all
on
at
all of
the
those demonstrations. Back to you guys.
We want to be
Metropolitan
clear, the images you're seeing right now are from earlier today. The freeway has been
Detention
cleared,
Center.
so
That's
no
where they
toll
were
viewers there. Right
they
now,
were
we wanna go to
defending
NBC's
that because all the
David
ICE
Noriega, who's been
vehicles
helping us
were
out.
going there. I
David
heard
is
it was
there
about
on the ground.
50
David,
ICE
once again,
vehicles
give us
went
your
there
location and
today.
some of the developments that you've been
It may have
seeing
been
since
lower
we
than
last
that,
spoke with
but it was a lot of ICE vehicles going in there.
Yeah, the most recent development, which is ongoing, this is the reason you're watching me move.
Yeah, 2022 very bad, 2023 bad, 2024. Yeah, you saw a lot of Chinese guys from mainland China prior, and I saw them also in Jacumba, California. That's in the San Diego sector where I spent over 4 months camped out and filming there. Lots of Chinese, and in Lukeville, Arizona, it was mostly people from Africa, from Islamic majority countries in Africa, and it was different in every spot. Like in Yuma in 2022 when I went there, it was mostly Hispanic, and we had a lot of people from Cuba, and it was all from this South America, Central America. Not a lot of people from Mexico coming over. So every area was totally different. Lukeville, Arizona was the most global invasion that I saw, which was mostly people from Senegal and Guinea in Africa. Next was people from India, tons of men from India coming over, and then people from Syria, other places in the Middle East, and there was under 25% of those crossing illegally in that area were Hispanic family units. It was completely crazy.
They were blocking roads after the LAPD had declared it an unlawful assembly. The LAPD, with loudspeakers from helicopters as well as from patrol cars, were announcing that this was an unlawful assembly and ordering everybody to disperse. The protesters chose not to disperse. At that point, it was, I don't know, maybe an hour after that, that police moved into that intersection and pushed people this way. As far as the police's tactics, they're using, again, mounted officers on horseback, and they're using a range of less lethal munitions, rubber rounds, foam rounds, which they're shooting at the ground, skipping towards the protesters in order to force them basically to move back.
You know what? When I was in China, in Hong Kong, covering the Hong Kong protests, the tear gas over there that they use and the pepper spray has a special burning agent in it that when it touches your skin, your unprotected skin, it feels like you're on fire. I noticed that over here in America, when I filmed in riots and it was in the middle of tear gas, we don't use that, and that would be actually very helpful. Because it feels like you are on fire for hours and hours and hours. The Chinese variant of tear gas, we could actually manufacture it on our own, but for this kind of stuff, you need it. Because I remember getting hit with tear gas in Hong Kong, and my arms were not covered, my face wasn't covered, and it would stick to you and burn.
She deemed those types of interruptions as unlawful, that people will be held accountable. David Noriega, right there on the ground for us for NBC.
Prior, yeah.
As always, right now we want to get to our karma.
Yeah. I live far away. I mean, I live like the closest border to me, because I'm in Sacramento, so it's like 500 miles away. And if I'm going to travel that far, I'm going to stay. It didn't make sense to keep coming back and go back and forth. So typically I'd stay a month, 1 month camped out at a time on the border. Like I'd find the hot spot or hot spots and just stay in that one area. 2022 I did my first multi-state tour on the border. I drove from Sacramento, from California, through Arizona, New Mexico, then Texas, all across Texas, filmed all across the border. That was 2022, my first border tour. That was fully freelance on my own. And then after that, I went to Lukeville, Arizona, and camped there for about 7 weeks.
on our streets over the last.
Yeah, you have to wear
prior.
you do have to wear be fully covered, like in Hong Kong, because the tear gas over there was and the pepper spray had a burning agent in it. You had to be fully covered, or you were in a world of pain. But so yeah, and then so 2023 was Lukeville, Arizona, and that was just a massive invasion going on there. It was like 800 to 1,000 every single day. And then after that, I went to Hakumba and spent over 4 months there. That was that was last year, which I finished in December. Hakumba was a lot, mostly people from China, lots of people from Turkey, lots of Middle Easterners.
Carter Nicholson reporting live from downtown. Thank you so much. We're going to switch over to Eric
Nice,
Leonard
Pryor.
right now.
You're at Camp Pendleton. That's awesome.
Enforcement situation, really.
I need to get back to San Diego just because I spent the time there filming.
And we saw earlier, as you see,
and
been watching from our images,
I didn't get a lot of downtime. I did some photography and drone photography on the Pacific Ocean. Got a bunch of surfers, which was awesome. Filmed a wildfire like right on some mountains. That was like crazy. But I didn't get to see a lot of the awesome stuff because I was on the border all the time. I need to get back down there and have a little bit of vacay time. Andrew, yeah, they. I think they're. The federal complex. I think this was earlier. They cleared them out, but it was they had taken over the freeway, Highway 101 or Freeway 101, whatever it is. They were attacking police vehicles. I would say signals that the one officer got hit in the head with a rock. He was down. It's difficult to say from just that one viewpoint what's in store for the rest of the evening. But clearly, look, they declared an unlawful assembly. Prior, yeah, that's you can't. I mean, you can carry it in some places. Some places you probably don't want to carry the American flag. When I was on the border doing a worldwide border tour in 2019, right as the pandemic was starting. So I was in Asia, the Middle East, Europe, and Africa. And when I dropped into Hungary, I was on the border, Hungary's border with Serbia, where ISIS fighters were coming across prior. And so they built a 100-mile long electrified border fence, and so I went down there to film it, and I wore my American flag patches on my clothing, so the border, it was like the state police. I don't think it's like the border police out there in Hungary. It's like they're called state police who patrolled it, but I didn't want them to that's coming from this crowd here. But at some point, mistake me for someone trying to get across or whatever. Joyce, whatever happened to your friend Flora? That's triple amputee veteran Brian Colfage, who got the first privately funded border walls built. I was working with him as the videographer and photographer, news editor for that organization. It was called We Build the Wall. He got arrested. Steve Bannon got arrested. A couple other people from that. We're working on a pardon right now to get him a pardon. There's so much happening. It's crazy. I can't talk about some of it just because of the names and whatnot. That's who's behind doing stuff behind the scenes. I just talk to him, and I talk to him in email almost every day, sometimes on the phone. So yeah, there's a lot going on. A lot of different people are working towards that to get him a pardon. Manage that because there's just so many people going in so many different directions, but it sure looks like prior that is awesome. Complex in downtown LA on Los Angeles and Temple. Prior, you were at the Trump's inauguration. That would have been awesome. I think I got invited. I was invited. I didn't want to spend the money. I was like, I spent like $50,000 on my own filming on the border during the Biden administration, so it was a lot of money.
again from the
and
mayor that there was going to be a meeting
so
with some of the local law enforcement people and
I'm
potentially
like
the
careful
governor.
about where I travel now.
So that's going to be consuming their attention.
But
for
that's awesome,
probably the
Pryor, that you got to
foreseeable
go to
future.
the
However,
inauguration.
we are in touch with the staff there. We have made it clear that we really want to hear about the police chief about these issues. So hopefully sooner rather than later. Back to you guys.
All right, Eric Leonard, thank you so much. And of course, if we do hear from any authorities, we will bring it to you the very latest as we continue to follow this. What started as a peaceful protest, a few people arrested today, unfortunately.
Yeah, we're going to continue to follow the very latest. We have reporters on the ground as well as in the air. We'll have much more coming up on the NBC4 News at 6 o'clock. The NBC Nightly News is next.
Okay, looks like, are they... Looks like they're taking them down, making some arrests. I think this was earlier. Or it might be, like, live. They're, like, zip tying somebody. Those plastic handcuffs, whatever those are called. Wow. Looks like they're just going to show this. Wow. Pryor, that's, yeah, it's a lot. I mean, if you, on the border, you spent $13K. I saved money by camping. I didn't stay in hotels a lot unless I needed to, or unless it was too hot. Sometimes it got like to 112 degrees. I was like, oh my gosh, we got to get a hotel room. But it was better, and I like camping out there on the border and filming because you get to see what's happening at night as opposed to just the daytime. A lot of stuff, like people were crossing at night. That's why, what would this live stream end from NBC? Yeah, I think so. So, let's see if there's anything else live going on. YouTube. Sorry, guys. You're gonna see a little switching around here while I try and find okay, what's going on live? Okay, is this live right here?
Of undocumented who work in building housing. Is there not a concern that this is going to have an economic impact?
Well, look, there are visa
Here we go.
programs,
What is
there are
this?
visitor visa programs, or worker visa programs, but that's really more
Police scanner,
of a
Starship
policy question
Advance.
and one for
I've never heard of
Congress to
this.
decide. My role in the Department of Justice is to enforce the laws on the books.
You're a former state assemblyman who represented
I'm
Corona,
gonna
Riverside County.
look around here a little bit. Oh, okay. Let's go back and see. I want to see what else is live on YouTube. Live. Agenda free. Kind of want to stick to if we can find some live streamers. IRT. Oh, hey, I know. I think I know this guy, actually. Is this live? Let's see what. Let me see if I think I met this guy on the border. Is this? I don't know if this is live or not. It says it is live, apparently. So good.
Start burning down Los Angeles.
Oh, Joyce, this was earlier? Okay. Oh, Pryor, in D.C. you spent $13,000. I can't believe it. D.C. is hella expensive. That's why I've only been, like, when I've been contracted to work as a photographer. and everything was paid for. So, but I very much know because I stayed in the there's I forget what it was called. It's the one all the presidents stay in, the hotel, and it was super expensive. But let me what? Wow, look at that. So fight. Wow, that's crazy. I mean, it's still sunny out here. It's only 5:30 in here in California. So let me back up, see if there's an actual live agenda free TV live now. Code 3. Yeah, I'm not seeing a lot, just some. I mean, this guy's live. Is it?
North Los Angeles Street in our. Oh yeah, this is only a block or two away from where all the stuff has been going on today. I think I geolocated it here. Yeah, Los Angeles Street and Arcadia Street. It's right next to the 101. It's close to Alameda Boulevard, Alameda Street. So this is quite close to where the other stuff has been going on today.
Dang. So I guess NBC didn't cover this. This must be somebody's live stream or something. Like literally a protester.
Oh, there are two fires? Are there two cars on fire now? Look
Wow,
at this.
that's crazy.
Look at this. Wow.
Dang. Let me check. Andrew, normally when nighttime
right there.
comes, the anarchists come out, Antifa, whatever, and start lighting, getting very radical and violent. That's my experience filming riots all over.
Where the National Guard was and protests were earlier today.
So I'm going to...
It's that same area.
Looking on my phone. For some info on this. Let's see. Who's this?
Yes, Waymo are electric cars, and I believe those are Waymo cars. So my guess is that I would assume they are.
Yeah, I just read this on X. That's an actual self-driving car that's been lit on fire, apparently.
Well, two on fire. At least two on fire right now. There's another one that's been destroyed.
So it's Waymo taxis on fire, and looks like
1, 2, 3.
I'm gonna back up out of this. I don't want to. This is this guy's.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I'm gonna find a. New York Post.
Today's actually a really exciting day because
gotta watch their ad for a second.
One of these units right in front of a crowd of...
All right. No, my gosh, come on. So, New York Post. This is their channel, I believe. Yeah, New York Post. People cheering. Send in the Marines. Prior, yeah, I don't know some of the rules of like copyright. I don't want to like get in trouble with putting somebody else's stream up. I know when you put your face on, you're like adding to it. So there's some rules like you can't just put up other people's videos. I know should be okay with my face on here, but it's crazy. I got to look up all the copyright stuff because I know like JLR Investigates, who was out at the border with me several times. I watch his, and he's fine by streaming other people's stuff with him, you know, his face on the screen. I'm new to this, so I don't want to get in trouble. Interesting. Okay, it looks like studio. There we go. I'm not sure why this video isn't like full screen. I'm trying to fix it, but look at that. So wow. There we go. I'm seeing something different. Oh, okay, there we go. There's the fire. Seeing something different. Oh, okay, there we go. There's the fire. Wow. Prior, I think it's called a Waymo. Yeah, Waymo driverless vehicles. They're taxis. Whoa. Flashbang. Or unless that was a car blowing up. Wow. Something's blowing up. Listen to that. I think if that was the police, there'd be a lot more flashbangs going off. Wow. Again, wow. Maybe it is the police. Yeah. Police must be... I'm going to turn the volume up so we can hear better. You can hear the explosions. Sorry guys, we've got a couple screens going on. I can't figure out how to get
thank you.
this video.
Sorry, man.
Oh, there it goes. It filled up all the screen now. I don't know what happened. But wow. It's fully engulfed. I don't know what those explosions are. Maybe the batteries? I don't see police moving in or anything. If it was... oh, prior, yeah. Because I didn't see the police moving in. And I was like, what is that? Joyce, wow. I mean, yeah, there's so many in California, especially people who came across the border illegally. It's millions, probably. You gotta think, what was it, 20, 30 million in the last 4 years came over. So, and California is just the place. A lot went to New York, but not that many, not all of them. The ones that I talked to out on the border always said New York was the first place they said they were going. I think Chicago was another big spot. Joyce, wow, they've been here for 4 years. Yeah, I mean, if that's what happened under Biden. Dude's getting a selfie in front of a burning car. Or maybe he's just live streaming with his face. Wow. So if it's this way in the daytime, it's going to get worse at night. They need to get the National Guard troops there. Andrew, yeah, that would be. It's not the time to visit L.A. I mean, never really is. I mean, I've driven through so many times on my way to the border, and man, take a wrong turn and you are in the wrong frickin' neighborhood, and it's like, holy crap, get me out of here. Because when I go, I've got tons of equipment. Like, I've got tens of thousands of dollars of camera equipment with me and other stuff, and it's like, oh my gosh. I mean, I'm fully insured, but still, if somebody get broken into or carjacked, it's crazy. It's insane. I do not like going through LA, like even just driving through. So let's destroy private property that has nothing to do with government, the ICE raids or the ICE arrests. Let's just destroy other people's property. That's what they're doing. So guys, I got to get some stuff done. I'm going to roll out. This is kind of a, just like a test to see what happened if I went live, you know, so I'm not actually there right now. I should be on the border. Gosh, I don't want to give a time frame because so much is going on. I have a few more things to get ready before I go back to the border. So guys, thanks everybody for showing up, coming, dropping by, and soon I'll be back out for some new adventures, filming on the border and down Southern California, out in Arizona, wherever stuff's happening. Slick. Oh, go live with JLR. Yeah. Sorry, guys, I forgot my camera on. Hey, my nose is good. Yeah, I do need to go live with JLR. I've done it before on the border. He actually helped me with my YouTube channel because I wasn't using it a lot. It was more on Facebook and X and whatnot. We'll see, because he might even come back out there, you know, once border wall construction starts. And we'll see. I might meet up, you know, who knows. I've seen Ben Bergquam out on the borders. Everywhere, wherever I go in the country, I see him. He just shows up out of the blue. You guys know who that is with Real America's Voice. I've known him forever. But I'm looking forward to getting back out on the ground. So thanks everybody. I'm gonna wrap it up here. I gotta get some stuff done. It's Sunday. A few more things to do. Have a great week, and God bless. Slick, just a little bit. Like, I think it's going on 3 states. But after they get past the big bill, like $46.5 billion for border wall and other stuff is in there. So, all right, guys. Peace out. Bye, Pryor and everybody.